arrived here October the 5th, 19. He arrived in Durban. Now let's see, yeah, that's not too bad. So here's Srila Prabhupada being garlanded at the Durban airport. In those days it was the Louis Botha airport. I don't know who Louis Botha was, but I guess he got sort of kicked out in the meantime. Something like that. And was he a president? Okay. Not a good precedent. Anyway, you see there's a person there, a white man, a Vito. Anyway, let's not get political about it. But you see the person with the cap on the left, with a big smile on his face, that is Mr. Krishna Swami. Yes, he was like really spearheading things after Shri Prabhu had gone back to America or wherever, maybe to India. Then Mr. Krishna Swami came. And of course, this is 1975. Parthasarathi Maharaj, we all know him extremely well, don't we? And he came like, I think it was 74. But anyway, Mr. Krishna, who's there on the left, he spearheaded things for some years until Prabhupada left this world this Sunday. And otherwise here is Rida Prabhu in the center, garlanding Prabhupada. And this is Prabhupada there, and Rida Prabhu is on our right. He's South African actually. And that's Mr. J.T. Buller, I think, on the right. In the Durban airport, there's Mr. Gokul, if you remember him, Atlas Printers, on the left there, with Prabhupada in the airport. And Prabhupada sat down, he walked in, he sat down after, a minute or 2 minutes of just mingling with a few of these, they're like big business people, prominent members of society in those days. Prabhupada sat down, but then he decided to address everyone. So Prabhupada stood up on the very seat he was sitting on there. You remember a few seconds ago, Prabhupada was sitting there. Now he's standing on the same seat with Mr. Bulla on the left there, maybe I think holding him. Mr. Gokul is just on the right, just by Prabhupada's left hand there. And Prabhupada's addressing the crowd. There was quite a crowd there to greet him when he first arrived, October the 5th. And so now they're heading out to get into the car. Parthasarathi Maharaj explained to me someone had brought, I think, some big Mercedes-Benz to take Prabhupada up to Westville, where a house had been arranged. But the big, I think, Mercedes broke down, and someone had some big American car, one Patel gentleman, and he drove Prabhupada just spontaneously. So Prabhupada went to Westville. And here's Prabhupada arriving there. And it's an Indian area, so they've got a little Havam Kun type of thing there in the front. But what the devotees are doing, they're throwing flower petals in front of Srila Prabhupada's feet. That's what they're doing. And so Prabhupada walks in and goes into the house. I forget the street number, 37 or 39, something like that. It's on one of the main roads heading up towards the university. Devon Terrace, that's right. I believe it's 37. It's 97, excuse me. Okay, so anyway, there's Prabhupada just coming in to step into the house. And then Prabhupada was there. This is the main living room. So he would hold programs in the evenings. And as you can see, mainly the Hindu people were coming. You may recognize, do you recognize standing on our right of Srila Prabhupada? Who is that? It's His Holiness Parthasarathi Maharaj. Looking a lot slimmer. And sitting down there is, who is that? It is Ramanujacharya Prabhu, who's looking a lot slimmer. Anyway, so Prabhupada was holding these programs and preaching, and that's Pushta Krishna Swami on the left with the danda, you can see. So yeah, like this. You know, if we turn a little more light off, I don't know, it might be easier to see more clearly. I mean, it's not bad, but yeah, okay, so Prabhupada was doing like that, staying there in Westville. And however, you know what? On the very first day, he arrived at whatever time it was, on October the 5th, but October the 6th, Prabhupada, on his first morning in South Africa, in Durban, he went for a morning walk just near the beach. And here is Prabhupada walking by the beach. The beach is just down to our right there, with some devotees and friends and people. And that's Hari Kesh, who's recording what Prabhupada would say. And here's Prabhupada with some of the, this gentleman on the left, I can't remember his name, but some prominent Gujarati gentleman, I think. Was it Narandas? The old Narandas, must have been. Really, okay. And Prabhupada was really enjoying being in his element of just preaching to people and giving people Krishna consciousness and addressing and solving their doubts and so on and so forth. And who's the young man with the dark glasses and the longer hair? Anyone know? Anyway, some interested young gentleman. Or maybe Bob Narandas, I don't know. But anyway. So yeah, Prabhupada, very happy to be in South Africa and preaching Krishna consciousness to the South Africans. So on the 7th of October, Prabhupada had his first program in the Durban Town Hall. There's the advertisement, 7 p.m. on the 7th, and it also mentions on the 12th there's a program in Maritzburg in the town hall there. Yeah. So, look at Prabhupada. That's a photo of Prabhupada from London, actually, Berry Place. Looking up the stairs, some of the devotees are crying, calling out to him very happily, and he's just in ecstasy seeing the devotees. So here we are in the Durban City Hall. and a gathering of devotees there, and in the center, of course, is our Srila Prabhupada. And yes, I remember, well, I was not here at the time, but Prabhupada asked some questions, and one of the Narayan Singh people, some of you older people would remember from Stanga, he was like a vegetarian activist. I don't know if you remember him. And he asked Prabhupada, could you please say something about vegetarianism? And Prabhupada said, Prabhupada could tune into a person where they're coming from on the spot. Prabhupada just said, it is not important. And explained that really the main thing is that you offer your food to Krishna. And I mean, obviously we should offer vegetarian food actually. So here we have some photos of Prabhupada during that program. Really beautiful Prabhupada. Very deep in thought. Just considering how to present things to the people there. Yes, so it was a great success. That was the 7th of the 8th. He had a program in the Westmill University, and he was told that it'll just be him and he'll be presenting to the staff, like the lecturers and various other people. But without informing Prabhupada, they brought along some other Swami from somewhere who's just on our right of Prabhupada as far as I can see. And the Vito, anyway, that is a, would you believe, I think Professor Ustazen. No, I was told it was Ustazen. But maybe it's on Olivia, it could be. But yeah, there's Mr. Krishna up on the left. And a bit of a debate developed between Prabhupada and the gentleman with the big beard on our right of Prabhupada. And this is, was it Olivia? I don't know. I think I saw it. Okay, looks like it. We'll see him a little bit further on. So, right. So on the 9th, means 50 years ago yesterday, Srila Prabhupada did a program in the Lakshmi Narayan Temple in Mobini, Chatsworth. We were there last night. And, there was a fair crowd, really. I must make a confession. This is the only photo that I have or I've ever heard of from that program. Sri Hari Prabhu, if you remember him, he's up in Joburg these days. He is right up at the back somewhere on our right-hand side. He was there for that program of Prabhupada's. And that's the only photo I have of that program, I'm sorry. But then on the 10th, he met personally with Professor Olivia, who was the dean, as far as I know, of the Westmill University. And this is definitely Professor Olivia. Looks the same as the other fellow, doesn't he? Anyway, Prabhupada preached to him, and Olivia, even though he was like a staunch Afrikaner, he was what they call Bruderbond, if you remember, things like that from the past. It means like the inner circle of the staunch Afrikaners. But I think he could see that the end was coming. For the Afrikaners, they just weren't going to be able to hang on forever. So anyway, he really listened to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada really appreciated him. Yeah, and here we see Mr. Krishnaswamy on our right is showing the professor one of Prabhupada's books. Yeah, this is in the place, what was it, 97, Devon Terrace, yeah. Yeah, right. So that was the 10th. On the 10th evening, 50 years ago today, would you believe, devotees, Prabhupada did a program at the site of the Seva Samaj temple at Reservoir Hills, right here. Just right here. And again, we don't, I just have not been able to find many photos, but a few. This is a nice photo. So this is Prabhupada sitting on his guest right here. Right here. And leading some kirtan. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And here is Prabhupada leading the kirtan. And really, wow, look at that. Just so deeply absorbed. Amazing. And this is one other photo, it's a bit, a bit the worse for wear 50 years later. But anyway, it's in a tent, or like a pandal, a marquee, because this building we're in, of course, didn't exist then. And so there's Prabhupada, in the course of presenting his class and so on. So then on the 11th evening, the next day, Prabhupada did a program in the Peter Maritzburg Town Hall. So here we are. It's a fairly substantial hall. I mean, you may have been here, we've done programs since those times there. Quite a fair crowd of people there. And Prabhupada with the assembled disciples with him. And there we see Mr. Krishnaswamy, Parthasarathi Maharaj is there with the yellow chadar, and on the left is Rukma Prabhu, disciple of Prabhupada. I believe he's still practicing Krishna consciousness, but I haven't seen it for decades. Yeah. And I noticed a funny thing. Do you see a funny thing there? Prabhupada doesn't have a garland. Don't ask me why. But, we all make mistakes sometimes. So then, they had kirtan at the end of the program. Mr. Krishnaswamy on the left there, Tagradaki, he was really into leading kirtan in the Peter Maritzburg Town Hall. Yes. So then, on October the 14th, Prabhupada flew to Johannesburg. And here he is, coming in from the aeroplane, South African Airways, with Harikesh on the right, Mr. Krishna on the left, and one or two others. And here they are, going through the airport buildings there. Yeah. And when he was there, he stayed in our temple in Yeovil. That was 37, was it? 37 Ruler Street. And he gave classes to interested people, sort of a range of interested people would come. There's Parthasarathi Maharaj again. Behind him, you see that's Gokulendra Prabhu, who's South African born, the first, one of the first South African born devotees. He's still living, but he has stage 4 cancer apparently. He's going to pass away shortly. And this is the altar there in our little temple. And Prabhupada would sit outside in the garden and speak to the devotees. Here you can see Hari Kesh on Prabhupada's, on our right of Prabhupada's reading to Prabhupada. Prabhupada would make comments. Ramanuja is there. And here again, same type of situation. The lady in white, not actually white, but it's just the camera sometimes changes the colours. That was Venurati, also, I think actually Afrikaans, but a South African born lady. So, yeah, Prabhupada would read the newspaper occasionally. He would like to keep up with what was going on in India, Prabhupada. So anyway, on the 18th, Prabhupada did a program in the Lothian Civic Center. And Hindu people came from all over in those days Transvaal, from Pietro Teeth and Louis Tricart. A whole delegation came from Louis Tricart. So here's Prabhupada in the Lothian Civic Center. And Prabhupada is speaking. And again he's speaking. And then after a little while, after Prabhupada finished speaking, the kirtan started. And the kirtan, look, they're really getting into the kirtan. That's Samaj, by the way, on the left. And Mr. Krishna is really getting to play the Mridanga. And they're really into it. Really getting into it. So on the 20th, Srila Prabhupada received new volumes of the Chaitanya Charitamrita set. Have I got that right? Yes, okay. Or have I got it right? I think I got it wrong. No, it's Srimad Bhagavatam. 5th canto. It's the 5th canto, I think. This is, who is it? Bhadrakali with Jad Bharat. Yeah. So it's Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto. And here at the end of the 5th canto, the last chapter is all about the hellish planets. And believe me, it's a hell of a read. Boy, it's super heavy. And these are pictures of some of the, the sufferings that go on in the hellish planets. And Prabhupada saw it. He found it amusing. There's a kind of famous picture actually of Prabhupada. Someone's getting boiled in oil. And a few other interesting things going on. But I had to change the heading. Sorry about that. Srimad Bhagavatam. So around that time, the thing is, I really tried. I spoke to and wrote to Padasarita Maharaj a few times. He just can't remember. Nobody can remember. I spoke to Ramanujacharya. He even more can't remember. But we believe, we hope. Anyway, it's Srila Prabhupada. We believe that this is Prabhupada doing a program in Lens, in Lanesia. Yeah. Saint Vyasasan, Padasarita Maharaj told me he necessary in the world. So anyway, there's Prabhupada, definitely doing a program somewhere, very nice program. We believe that maybe it's probably or may well be in Lens somewhere. Yes, Prabhupada, very stern, really means business. So then on the 20th, he did a really major program in the Great Hall of the Wits University, biggest university in the country. Back in those days, it was all white, I believe, but now it's sort of all non-white. So here we are, we're in the Great Hall of the Wits University, and Prabhupada is there with the devotees, of course, and Prabhupada leading kirtan, giving a wonderful class. You know, all these classes, as far as I'm aware, they were all recorded, and I think they're all available if you'd like to hear what Prabhupada said when he was here. So yes, major program in a very major, very important place. And, you know, Prabhupada with great feeling and, you know, really heartfelt, trying to help people to become Krishna conscious and get out of Maya. Then, finally, let's just see, finally on October the 24th, Srila Prabhupada leaves South Africa from Johannesburg. And here's Prabhupada sitting in the airport, I'm told, waiting for his flight out from Johannesburg. And here, this is his visa again. But now here, you can see he came in 5th of the 10th month, on the left bit, down the bottom there. He came on a holiday. He can't accept any employment or do any business or profession or anything. But anyway, so Prabhupada, you know, sort of like on a permanent holiday, just preaching Krishna consciousness. And then he, for a trek, he left on the 24th. So just see, that was Srila Prabhupada in South Africa, at least a little bit of an insight. And may his glories be spread throughout the 3 worlds. Srila Prabhupada.